Welcome to Off the Rails Tech. This is part 2 in the Django series. In this video we're going to be going over templates, URLs, and views. But before we do that, a little cleanup from last week. I forgot to add a field in our dish. We have the comment where we can leave a comment what we think about the dish. But one thing that I wanted to add that I didn't was a rating. So we're going to have a rating, and that is going to be a models positive integer. And we're going to add a hint to this one, and we'll say leave a rating 0 to 5. This is just going to be in the admin. Later on, when we actually build a form, we can validate and ensure that the rating number is between 0 and 5. This is just more of a reminder. And the other thing I'm going to do real quick as a cleanup is I spelled address wrong up here. It's still spelled wrong. There we go. So let's save that, and now we have to do the make migrations again to let the database know that this has been renamed and that we've added this field. So that's just Python manage. You notice that we're already in our virtual environment. I did have someone comment asking if I used pip env. I haven't really played with it. I know it's kind of gaining a lot of traction and popularity. It seems to be kind of becoming the de facto default for virtual environments with Python. If you guys want to use that and you like it, great. One thing that I didn't like about it is that it kind of forced a directory structure on you. Like you couldn't have your virtual environment in a completely weird, not weird, but just different directory. Like it had to be, for instance, I have this video tutorials, and then I have another, after this Off the Rails Tech, there's a folder here called virtual environments, and that's where I keep all my virtual environments. To do it with pip env, you would have to have the virtual environment be in the same kind of directory path as your project, and I don't really like that. I don't know if that all made sense, but anyway, that's just a side note. So we're gonna go ahead and make migrations back to what we came here to do. Keyword environment hint. I thought hint was something that was a thing, but I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm sure there is, I just don't remember. Okay, now it's prompting us, it's asking us some questions. It said, do you rename restaurant address to restaurant address? Yes, we did. And the other thing it's prompting us for now is saying we're adding a new non-nullable field rating. So basically, non-nullable means we didn't put in rating. We didn't put we could have put in the parentheses something like blank equals true, null equals true. I can't spell true right. But basically, if you put blank equals true, that means when you're submitting a form, you can leave it blank and it's not going to complain. And if you have null equals true, it means you can save to the database without having a value. But we don't want that, and actually this would not, this is a comment, this would actually go in here, but since we're not going to do that, I'm just going to get rid of it. So basically it's saying we already have some dish records, and they can't have no value in this new field that we're adding. So we're just going to provide a one-off value, and we're just going to give it of 4. Why not? And now we have to migrate. Okay. So now we are good. The other one more thing, cleanup thing that I want to do from last week is I named this restaurants and I named the app review. In hindsight, I probably would have reversed this. It probably would make more sense to have the project called restaurants and the app called, have the project called review and the app called restaurants, and then you could have had different apps inside the review project. Like you could have a restaurants app, you could have a movies app for reviewing movies. In reality, I usually name the project, like if I'm doing like a real domain, I just name it the domain. So if I was making a Django project for offtherailstech.com, this would just be offtherailstech.com, and then I would have apps inside of it. Just a side note, but let's start getting into views and URLs and templates, which is what this video is supposed to be all about. So we're going to start with views. So this is where you're going to collect information from the database that you're going to pass to the template, which is where you're going to render the HTML. So the first view we're going to build is going to be a view that just lists all the restaurants we have. And I'll just have one more side note here on views. There's a thing called class-based views, and then there are function-based views. And a lot of times when people say class-based views and when they talk about Django, they really mean generic class-based views. As someone who is starting out and learning Django, I would highly recommend you stay away from the generic class-based views. A regular class-based view is okay. In fact, that's what we're going to use here because I like them. I think they're a little cleaner looking than the function-based views. The generic class-based views, well, they may be quick and easy. They're really not showing you're really not getting a good sense of what is happening. It's very kind of magical, and it's just like there's kind of a lot of voodoo magic where you could just quickly do a view that displays everything in a table, but you don't really understand what's going on, which is why I don't recommend starting with those. They're fine if after you kind of get a grasp of how the views are actually built and you just want to do something quick and dirty, then they're fine. But if you try to start with them, you probably run into problems where you quickly realize that once you try to do anything slightly different than what they're designed to do, you're going to start ripping your hair out and you're going to want to give up. So I would just stay away from the generic class-based views altogether. That said, let's get into building our first non-generic class-based views. So we're going to make a class, and we're going to call it restaurant view. And this is going to extend view. And since we're extending view, we know that this is what we know is a class-based view, but it's not a generic view. When they say generic view, they mean something like there's one I think called template view. I think there's another one, something I don't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. But anyway, as you notice, this is red underlined because we actually have to import the view. And I know I said that we're not using generic, and this is probably some of the confusion of why people, when they talk about class-based views, they generally think generic. This is because of this right here. Even though we're importing from generic, we're just importing the view. We're not importing any of the generic views. In fact, let's just quickly do Django class-based views. Just to quickly. see, so there's like the template view, and then there's an about view, and a list view. These are like the generic views, the generic class-based views. But if you just use the view one, then that is not considered really a generic class-based view. It's just a class-based view. Okay, so now we have to write a function, a get function, because that's basically the HTTP request is going to be a get request. So this is saying if the request is get, we're going to be performing this function, which is why I really like class-based views. Because in function-based views, you don't get this. It just kind of, it seems more messy to me. In class-based views, you can do a def get like this, and then you'll have a def post for when you're handling forms. And then just this method is going to get called on a get request. Just this method is going to get called on a post request. It's just nice and clean, and I like it. We're not going to worry about post right now. So the first thing we're going to do is grab all the restaurants from the database. Restaurant objects, all. One thing we also have to do is import from our models, import restaurant. So here we're importing the restaurant from models. So we have models over here. We're importing this class. And then down here we're defining a variable called restaurants, which is restaurant, and then objects, all of them. So we're grabbing all the restaurant objects, and then we're going to build the context. And I highly recommend you do this. Since we only have one variable, we could just pass the variable to the template, but as you get more and more complicated views and you have lots of variables, you'll just throw them all in this context, and then you'll pass the context to the template. So we're going to pass restaurants. That's what it's going to be called, and this is actually what it is. I just always keep these consistent. You could call this something different, but that would get confusing in my opinion. And then we're just going to return render request, and then we're going to go to an HTML file called restaurants.html, and we're going to pass in our context. And that's all there is to it for this view. Now we actually have to make this restaurant's HTML because it doesn't exist yet. So we're going to go over here, we're going to make a new folder, and we're going to call that templates. And we're going to make two new files, one called base.html, which is going to be our base file, and one called restaurants.html. So in basic HTML, we're just going to lay out a very simple HTML template. We'll have the head, we'll have the title, we'll say restaurant reviews, and we'll have the body, and we'll just make a div in the body, and we'll give it an ID, we'll call it page container, the div. Whoops. And then we're going to have to put something kind of special here, and this is where we start getting into Django's template language. We're going to use a curly brace and a percent, and we're going to call this block, whoops, not black, block content. We'll close it, and then we have to also end it. Let's see, end block. There we go. Now, when we go to build our restaurants page, where we're going to display the restaurants, all we have to do is do, with the template language again, extends base.html. And then we can do block content, and then again end block. And now we can put our HTML for the restaurants page in here. So I'm just going to do something very simple. We'll just do something, give it a h2, we'll call it restaurants list, and then we'll throw in something, some more template language. We're going to say for restaurant in restaurants lowercase, because that's what we're passing. That's what we're passing here. We're passing this to this template here, so we can use it over here. And then we have to end for. And we'll just do, I'm just going to do this as P for now. We'll clean this up probably in the next video. We'll actually do some CSS and stuff. And here we can start using what we passed to the template. So we could say restaurant dot name, and we can do restaurant dot anything here. We could do restaurant dot town. In fact, let's do that. We'll do a hyphen, and then we'll do restaurant dot town, and that will be our list. Town. And there we go. And now we have base. And so basically this extends, and this block content is just going to get thrown in. This block content is going to get thrown in here, and then this will automatically get wrapped around because we're extending it. In fact, I can, just to kind of show another point, is you could have something like a nav bar. I'm not going to actually build one at this moment, maybe in a later video, but we could say like nav bar goes here, and the nav bar would go on all the page. You could have a restaurants page, you can have a dishes page, you can have a whole bunch of other pages, and the nav bar, you don't have to keep doing the code for the nav bar. It just is automatically going to get included as long as you're doing this extends base. So that's really a cool feature of Django. So we built our first view. Now we have to, and we built the template. Now we have to go to URLs, because right now, if we go to just the main thing, well, it's not going to do anything because we don't have the server running. We have to run server. if we go to the main thing, it's just gonna say, yeah, look at, yeah, the install works successful. Congratulations. This is just the default Django site. The only URL that actually works right now is the /admin. I did, by the way, kind of off camera, add another restaurant and a couple dishes. Oh, that reminds me, one more thing that I wanted to clean up. We'll get to that in 1 second, though. So yeah, back to the URLs. The only thing it knows about is this admin. So we have to build a, tell it what to do. So we're going to have a path, and this is just going to be a empty path, basically saying the root with no slash anything. So just the root of the site. What we want to do is we want to go to, we have to actually import our views first. And to do that, we have to do from review import views. So we're saying from review, which is the name of our app, import views. So at the root of our site, we want views, and then we want the view we just made, which is called restaurant view. Restaurant view, and we want that to be rendered as a view. I think I did that right. No, I have a missing comma here. There we go. There. What does it not like? Something in views. Alright, our URLs I think are good. It doesn't like something in views. We do wrong. Line 2. No module name Django view. That's because it's plural. My bad. Django views. Okay, no complaints this time. So now we go over here and we reload this, and oh crap, what happened? It doesn't exist. It says it doesn't, the template doesn't exist, but we built the template. It exists. It's right here in our templates folder. But Django doesn't know about our templates folder, so we have to tell it about our templates folder. And so we're going to use this. There's this base directory which automatically gets populated. So we're going to use that because that's this folder right here. So we're going to tell Django, hey, templates are in this directory here. So we're going to do os.path join base directory. So this is just basically saying this is a OS path, and we're going to join two things to make it one directory, one long file path basically, or directory path. So this is saying base directory, which is off the rails tech, video tutorials, restaurants, plus templates. So it's just marrying these two, and that's the name of our folder here. So now when we run this, system cannot find the specified. OS path join. What does it not like? Win error. The system cannot find the file specified. Settings pie. You know what? I think that is an old error message. Okay. So now if we, there we go. Beautiful. So you see nav bar goes here is on the page, and then restaurants list is here, and we have our 2 restaurants which are in the database. And then we have the town after. All right, cool. So now let's build another view. Let's build a, whoops. Let's build a dishes view. Call this view. Def get request. And in the dishes view, we're going to get the dishes. So we're actually going to have to import dish. So we're importing this right here. And we're going to get dishes equals dish object. Sorry, objects all. Actually, we don't want all. Actually, we have to add something up here. We have to add keyword arguments because we're going to use a variable in the URL. So there's our keyword arguments, and we actually have to get the restaurant again. So we're going to do restaurant. I'm going to call this instance so we don't get too confused. And this is going to be restaurant object get. Oh, I keep forgetting to fix that thing. We're going to get slug keyword arguments restaurant. So this is kind of where the slug fields come in, and I actually had to fix something on one of the slug fields, and I actually had to do it in the models. Normally, for 99% of the time, I like to have my slugs be unique, but for the dishes, I'm going to actually take this off. Let's say false here. I don't think we have to, I think deleting it might default to false, but I'm just going to explicitly tell it false, just to play it safe. We're going to actually control break, because this is going to have to, I think we're going to have to do the make migrations. And migrate. And the reason I did that is because we want to have a nice URL kind of structure, right? So what we're going to build is we're going to have, so the main site is just going to give you all the restaurants, and then we're going to do something like / restaurant name, and then so after you, and if you type in a valid restaurant name, you'll get a list of all the dishes that you had at that particular restaurant. And then after that, you could have / dish name, right? So say it was BBQ wings, and then that would take you to and just show you the review you did on the barbecue wings. And the way I had it set up, I was doing basically before I was doing the restaurant name again, and then the name of the dish. And you might have barbecue wings at 3 different restaurants, and I didn't want to repeat the name in the URL like that, so we're actually gonna take that off, and I actually have to fix. Well, this isn't gonna work because it's not running. have to fix. See, on these ones I did it correctly. On this one that I did in the first video, I put the restaurant name. So we're going to take that off and save it. Okay, so back to what we were doing. Alright, we are in the view. So we're getting the restaurant instance from the keyword arguments, and I'll show you that in a minute. That's actually done in the URLs. It's pretty easy. So we're going to pass the URL. We're going to pass the restaurant in the URL, and then we're going to grab it, and we're going to get the restaurant from the URL, and then we're going to get dishes, all of them. Perfect. And for context, we're gonna just call this restaurants, and actually I will do this one time here, restaurant instance. We'll name them differently here, just so you can kind of see. And then this is going to be dishes, and we'll keep this dishes. And then again, we're going to have to return render request, and we're going to go to dishes.html, and we're going to pass it the context. And for dishes HTML, let's just copy and paste what we have here. Dishes, right? And then we're going to say so we're passing it in our context a restaurant, and where did dishes go? Here it is. So in the heading here, let's just give it the name of the restaurant. So that's going to be restaurant name. And I'm going to say for dish in dishes. Let's do dish name, dish price. Actually, before the dish name, I just want that. I'm not sure if I copied what I wanted. Let's do dish rating. Dish rating, dish name. In reality, probably in the next episode when I get into the CSS and stuff, I'm going to probably make this into a table or something that's just not a P, but for now, we'll just leave it. And then we're going to go back over to restaurants real quick. We're going to actually make this a link. We're going to say a ref equals, I'm going to say slash restaurant slug. There. There's only one more piece to this puzzle, provided I did everything correctly. We'll find out, but we have to add another path in our URLs, and this path is going to just be restaurant dish view, dishes view, sorry, plural. And we're just going to do as, whoops, as underscore view. Okay, let's see if all that works. Refresh this. So now you see we have links here. You can see at the bottom, in the bottom left-hand corner, it is got the name of the restaurant. So let's go ahead and click on it. And there you go. Look, we have our rating. Oh, something's wrong though. What is this? Clam chowder should not be here. Because if we go to dishes, we go to clam chowder, that belongs to the Skipper Chowder House. Only barbecue wings belongs to Ember, and Hawaiian pizza belong to Ember. So we gotta fix that. And to do that, we don't want all, we want to filter, and we're gonna say that a filter on restaurant, right? Restaurant equals restaurant instance. So let's try again. There we go. Now we only see the two restaurants that, the two dishes that we had at Ember. And if we go back to the Skipper, we only see the clam chowder because we're now correctly filtering and only showing the dishes that belong to the restaurant. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. I think next video I'll kind of dive a little bit more into views. I'm gonna probably go one level deeper with you guys, and we'll do where we can click on this Hawaiian pizza and then get more information on the Hawaiian pizza, like our beautiful comment here. And then I'll also probably do a little CSS and make this actually look halfway decent instead of looking kind of like crap like it does now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and that you look forward to next week's video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and hope you guys have a good one.